Well, good morning, my fellow Zenites. Did you check your Pzen balance with your coffee this morning? Well, it's late mid-morning, and I'm starting the day off with a 23-year-old Zapaka rum, aged for 23 years in oak casks from America. Now, the music you heard earlier on was to remind me of what real life used to be like. Not that it's all sweetness and light living in paradise. You know, just because you have a lot of money doesn't mean that all problems go away. They just become different. And that leads me on to the title of this broadcast. So I guess the first thing I have to ask is, are we broadcasting? And if so, do we have sound? So give me a 1 in the chat room if we can actually hear me speaking. And then I will carry on my morning rant about the crypto world. Just give me a 1 in the chat box. Fantastic. Tortellini, good morning to you. So the headline is this. I say, getting rich is easy. And you might say to yourself, well, it's easy for you to say. But the real reason that you're not wealthy today, the main reason is this. You're living in a distorted reality, because there is absolutely no shortage of wealth in the slightest. What is happening is you've been told lies your entire life. Your understanding of how the world works is completely wrong. And so hopefully, with some guidance, with some information from me, you might be able to change that. But it's going to take an effort from yourself. You see, you might believe that wealth is for other people. You're never going to become wealthy. You just simply don't earn enough. So the first thing that has to change is you and your understanding. And how do you do that? Well, you do that through education. So for example, if you're in a job where you don't have enough money to invest, okay, then you shouldn't be trying to gamble away your money in stocks and shares or even crypto at this stage of the game. The first thing that you need to do is earn more money so you have more to invest, because all you have is time or capital. Because if you have capital, you don't need your time so much. If you don't have any capital, then you have to leverage your time. The only way you can leverage your time is to make sure that you're earning the most amount of money for the skill set that you have right now. Now, if you're not earning enough money, you need to upgrade your skill set. There are so many resources around right now where you can take a course, you can find a mentor who will teach you how to increase your income. And of course, the aim of the game, the only way to true wealth is through time and compound interest. But what most people do is they don't take the time to educate themselves. They're so desperate and they have a totally distorted reality of the world that, you know, what they end up doing is distracting themselves, you know, sitting in front of the TV when you come home from work, watching Netflix or playing games. And you know you should be doing something, but you're overwhelmed with this sense of not being able to achieve anything, that you actually distract yourself from reality. And that is not a very good thing at all. So I want to talk now to people who do have sufficient money to invest. And I want to directly talk to those people who are so scared of investing that even though they know about cryptocurrency, they choose to keep their money in the bank. Now, why would you do that? Distorted reality. You think that keeping your money in the bank in a savings account or a time deposit account locked up for years is the safest thing to do with your money. Well, again, you're living in a very false and distorted reality. And I want to take a couple of minutes just to explain and give you the facts that are going to alter your worldview of money in the bank. You see, the last time that we had a financial crisis back in 2008, it was dire. The next financial crisis that we are going to have, and mark my words, we will have another financial crisis. We don't know when, but it will happen. The banks and the regulators changed everything to our detriment. Let me just show you this little clip, which I think will explain and possibly change your reality forever. But this is what happened in 2008.
The global economic crisis of 2008 cost tens of millions of people their savings, their jobs, and their homes. Iceland is a stable democracy with a high standard of living. Until recently, extremely low unemployment and government debt. But in 2000, the government deregulated the banks, which would have disastrous consequences. These three tiny banks, which had never traded outside of Iceland before, managed to rack up debts of 120 billion, which is 10 times the economy of Iceland, leaving not only its citizens bankrupt, but the entire country. Trillions of dollars of ordinary people's money is locked up in banks around the world in time deposit accounts. And what if one morning you woke up to find the money you thought was yours in the bank actually belonged to the government? This is exactly what happened to those citizens in Cyprus.
This is a country where tonight you can't cash a cheque. You can't get more than 300 euros out of the bank per day. And let's make this brutally concrete. It's never a good idea to wave cash around on the street, but this is what a grand looks like in euros. This is 1,000 euros, and if tomorrow I go to the airport and leave this country with that and the loose change in my pocket, I'm breaking the law, because that's the limit on the cash you can take out of the country. People with fixed term deposits, they're saving the money for 12, 18 months, will be told they have to keep that money in there.
That was frightening, and it's meant to be. And you might be saying, well, we're now in 2023. That's never going to happen again. Well, I hate to break it to you, but things are actually a heck of a lot worse. And here's why. You see, after 2008, the banks and the governments got together and decided that we're never going to let this happen again. But if you remember, what happened is that the governments used taxpayers' money to bail out the banks, right? Another rabbit hole we could go down. How many of these crooked bankers went to jail, by the way, for everything that they did wrong, all the money that they basically stole from you and I, or your parents, if you're a bit younger? Nobody. Well, there was one person went to jail for everything that went wrong in 2008. That is just frightening. So they came up with this brilliant plan. There was a bill passed in America, the Dodd-Frank bill. And in that bill, it gives guidance to banks as to what to do if we ever faced another financial crisis like 2008. And this is astonishing. And you can look this up after you watch this broadcast. But they introduced a bill called the bail-in. So in 2008, the banks were bailed out. The next financial crisis that happens, the banks are going to be bailed in. And the bail-in is structured so that they get your money that's deposited in the bank. You signed an agreement. As soon as you handed over your hard-earned cash and put it into either a savings account or a time deposit account, or even if you just left it in your current account. Now, we all have to use banks at the moment, so everybody's got money in a current account. But it means that if that bank has financial difficulties and the bank goes bankrupt, they have, by the power of law, the first rights to your money. Think about that. And the other aspect of all of this is you might say, well, my money's insured. I'm fine. We've got FDIC insurance in America and all sorts of different products in Europe and the UK. The fact of the matter is, though, that if we ever had a financial crisis again, there isn't enough money in the FDIC accounts to cover such a scenario. It would be bankrupt. There would be a bank run on the FDIC insurance accounts, and there just isn't enough money. So you ain't getting your money back if there is such a financial crisis in the future. Wow. This is a terrible, terrible video, Conrad. What are you doing scaring us all on a Thursday morning? I think it's Thursday anyway. Well, you see, the thing is, we are at a confluence in history right now where we have a scenario where the wealth gap is enormous. The gap between the haves and the have-nots today is the highest it's been forever. And if you study history and you go back in history and you look at these inflection points where this has happened before, every single time the result has been a revolution. Now, what am I talking about here? What's going to happen? Well, you can already kind of see what's happening around the world. There's riots, there's demonstrations, and it's all about a lack of money. You know, people are trying to extend the retirement age, for example, in several European countries. And the reason for that is there just isn't enough money to pay them a pension. So how do you get out of that one? Well, you stop them from retiring. It's crazy, but it's happening. And the interesting thing is right now we are at a very special point in history, because now we have a confluence of technology and this wealth gap, and the technology offers a solution and a way out of this rotten financial system that I've been describing for the past 10 minutes. And of course, I'm talking about the new networked economy, the economy that is built right now on the Ethereum blockchain. And I'm going to particularly talk about a crypto asset called Pzen and the community that is involved in this, which we've nicknamed the Zenites. And they are extremely lucky to have found the new reality. They've broken out of the matrix, and they're now all part of a growing network economy, which will extract them from this rotten economic system and help to grow their wealth, generational wealth, in time to come. So I alluded before that one of the things you have to change is yourself. That's the biggest problem. That's the biggest obstruction to your getting wealthy, is yourself. And a lot of people will view cryptocurrency, especially from a mindset of scarcity. They'll treat putting money into crypto as though they are going to the casino. They don't look at it with logical brains. They don't look at it as a wealth management tool. They look at it as put it all on red and see what happens. And you know what? Even if it comes up, you're not going to get a yield. You're not going to get an interest on that money. And, you know, let's say you even a scenario where you won $1 million and you think, whoopee, that's it, I'm retired. Well, depending on how old you are, let's just say, I don't know, you're 30. You're a young guy, 30 years old. You've now got $1 million in the bank. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to immediately going out and buying your Lamborghini. That's about $250,000, $300,000, or even a Rolls Royce. Well, you can get a second-hand Rolls Royce for $150,000. Now you're buying a house, but you're not buying a comfortable house. You're buying a luxury pad to show off to your friends. You're going on luxury holidays. And mark my words, you will spend a minimum of $100,000 a year, probably $300,000. So after a period of 4 to 10 years, you're broke. So that's not the way you get wealthy. What is the way? Let's have some heartening cheer, Conrad, for God's sake. Let's hear what the solution is. I did say that getting rich is actually easy. And so I want to show you Pzen and how it works. And we're going to pit ourselves against the most fabulously wealthy and clever investor that there is on the planet right now. And that is Mr. Warren Buffett. And I'm going to prove to you that you have the ability to do better investment-wise than Warren Buffett has done over his lifetime. This is probably one of the most important videos you'll ever watch. And it's not coming from me. We've created an avatar called Robert, and Robert is being a spokesman when I can't and when other people can't. Don't forget, there's lots of other people now spreading the word of what Pzen is all about. But Robert has a very interesting tale to tell. Stick around. This probably is going to be the first crack in your distorted reality of how you get wealthy.
Here is how you beat Warren Buffett at investing. My name is Robert and I am an avatar. Chevron is one of Mr. Buffett's largest holdings. Year-to-date Chevron price is down over 9%. Dividend yield is 3.6%. Pzen, on the other hand, is up over 99%. If you bought 1 million Pzen at, say, $0.0043, that would cost you $4,300 total. The Pay It Forward code produces on average 450 Pzen per day. So even at this early stage you are achieving a staggering 16.4% APY. On the other hand, Mr. Buffett's holding of Chevron stock is yielding just 3.6% APY in dividends. It would seem Mr. Buffett needs to apply his own philosophy and update his worldview to embrace the decentralized protocol that is Pzen. Through the Pay It Forward code, Pzen harnesses the power of compound interest, but on steroids. It's more secure than stocks or bonds, being decentralized and fully transparent, built on the Ethereum network. This is an institutional-grade protocol. You receive compounding rewards just by holding in your wallet. No staking or lockup required. You retain control of your Pzen holdings at all times. Take a look at pzen.app today. Thanks for watching, and please follow and subscribe for more.
Wow, there we are. I told you there would be something happy to this video, and I hope that a big light bulb just went off in your head. For those of you who are not already involved in the new network economy that is Pzen. So let me just have a little drink whilst you assimilate what good old Robert had to say there. Maybe I can say hello to a few people. I'll do that at the end, actually. So thank you very much for joining, those who are. And of course, if you're a replay watcher, thanks very much for watching. I hope you find this interesting. So I want to go on more. I want to make your life even happier today, because I'm going to explain in a little bit more detail about this new protocol Pzen and how it's going to work for you. And of course, you know, we're at the very, very beginning of this. You're at the very, very beginning of this. We are so early onto this. It is an experiment after all, because, you know, cryptocurrency is only, you know, it's been here for seconds in the grand scheme of things. But there is no doubt for everybody, it's the way out. It's the way out of this rotten wage-slave system that we live in. And it is mind-boggling, which is why when you first hear about it, you dismiss it. And of course, with all the FUD that's been going on in the mainstream media about people like Sam Bankman-Fried or some No Bank Friedman and Celsius and FTX Alameda, you know, all these sorts of things, you might be wondering, well, crypto is just, you know, I'm not going anywhere near it. Well, I've explained to you your distorted reality of what you think is going on with your money in the banks. So let's explore your distorted reality with regard to cryptocurrency, because all the bad stuff that happened last year happened in a sector of cryptocurrency that we call centralized finance. And centralized finance has been run basically by young kids and traditional finance guys who have simply applied the same rules and techniques to centralized finance as traditional finance in the way that they have scammed and stolen your money. You, when you are using centralized finance, you're dealing with a third party. You have to trust another human being in the chain with your money. And look what just happened last year. Everybody lost their money. So let's go back to the basic premise and promise with what Bitcoin offered 14 years ago. And it is 14 years ago and things have moved on a bit. So Bitcoin, great, thanks very much. It's now spawned Pzen, let's move on. But the premise was this: you remain in control of your crypto, your tokens, all the time. You don't give them to a third party. You keep it in your wallet. But if you keep it in your wallet, it doesn't earn you any interest. It might have price fluctuations up and down, but unless you can time the market exactly how you want it to be, you're going to lose. You are going to lose money. There's no question. But if you can dollar cost average into something that is producing yield simply by you holding it in your wallet, that is the holy grail of crypto. And many pundits, including people like Ray Dalio, will tell you that this is the secret to now wealth building in the crypto world. But you really have to choose the right crypto asset. And of course, I'm going to introduce you to Pzen. Well, Robert just did that. But let's have some fun. Let's lighten the mood a little bit, shall we? Let's just have a wee dram. Who would like to know, if you're in Europe, how would you like to own a Rolls Royce? A Rolls Royce Ghost? Put your hand up. Put a 1 in the chat room if that's your dream car. Or it might be a Lambo. It doesn't matter. I'm going to show you some interesting figures now. You young guys want Lamborghinis. I can't even get out of them when I've got into them. So for us older chaps, a Rolls Royce is in the game. But you can apply this to your Lambo as well. But I want to just show you this. Well, in fact, I'm not going to show it to you. I will let Robert, because I still have a bit of a sore throat from my illness over the past couple of weeks. I'm going to let Robert explain how you might buy a Rolls Royce Ghost in the UK for £1,500. You've got to be interested in that. Stick around. Let's just see what he has to say.
I want to demonstrate the power of investing in Pzen, a secure crypto asset. Let me show you how you can buy this £150,000 Rolls-Royce Ghost for just £1,750. If you invest £1,750 at the price of £0.0035, you are going to get 500,000 Pzen. Congratulations. With traditional finance, if you trade in a car at, say, an £8,000 value, the loan agreement will have you paying £2,800 per month for 60 months. So the total cost to you is £168,000. Now see how wealthy people do it. Let's just fast forward into the future and imagine Pzen is now £0.35. With the daily pay of forward rewards averaging £300 a day. That is a staggering £3,193 yield per month. So the cost to you is actually zero. In fact, you have £393 extra, so you can afford to fill up the car. Well, for at least a week anyway. Pzen, through the Pay It Forward code, harnesses the power of compound interest, but on steroids. It's more secure than stocks or bonds, being decentralized and fully transparent, built on the Ethereum network. This is an institutional-grade protocol. Take a look at pulsesen.app. Thanks for watching and happy driving.
Oh my goodness. How amazing is that? I mean, that just seems absolutely so far-fetched, but it is within the realms of possibility. Now, I have to add a disclaimer here. This is not financial advice. This is just playing around with what might happen into the future. Is it possible? Entirely possible. Is it going to happen? Nobody knows. Nobody knows what's going to happen in crypto or anything else tomorrow in this crazy world that we live in. So financial advice, no. Entertainment, yes. Possibilities, yes. And we all want to see the possibilities. We all want to have our minds expanded to exactly how life could be so very different, starting from tomorrow. All you have to do is take action. Do a bit of research, get yourself educated, and then just look at the possibilities and the opportunity that are surrounding you right now. The people that are already invested in Pzen, they're not smarter than you. They're not richer than you. They're just better educated, and they're living in a different reality, which you have the opportunity to join right now today, purely by taking action. So that's my coffee morning rant for this morning. Hope you found it interesting. I'm going to say hello to a few people who've joined us this morning. Let's just see if I can read any comments. Cruising Chris says, good morning, Conrad. Good morning, Cruising Chris. Tortellini, hello to you. And JR Hex today. Yes, Hex has been on a bit of a tear. Excuse me. But again, if you look at the charts, which I post every day, Hex is just getting back to where it was about a year ago. But it's all good. We're not in competition. Different protocol. Some people are very comfortable locking up the money. We're providing a great alternative. Tortellini is agreeing with the idea that holding money in the bank isn't that good. No lockout group. I think this is Toddy from El Salvador, who's actually promoting Pzen in El Salvador in some way. Good luck to that. No lockout group says he's got a coffee from Colombia and not from El Salvador. Okay, so my rum was from Guatemala, which is just on my doorstep down the road, but it's all good. Crypto Freedom says, good morning, Mr. Conrad. Much appreciation. Thank you very much. Red Hulk 81 says, not financial advice. If you aren't into this, you will regret it. Again, not financial advice. Hex3K, well, we're not talking about Hex, but he says, can you explain to me why Richard is trashing your project? I thought you guys were good. I don't think Richard is trashing my project. I think that you might have got confused. Don't forget, Richard's a very busy man, and he's not interested in what we're doing over here. So I don't think he was trashing my project at all. I think at the very beginning, he didn't understand what it was, who it was, because there are, some other protocols out there. And it doesn't matter. Richard hasn't got time to study this. I have no beef with Richard. I don't think Richard has any beef with me. What we're doing here is growing the ecosystem. Don't forget, all Pzen holders get their copy on Pulsechain if and when it launches. More about that, just specifically for hexagons and anybody interested in Pulsechain. I've already put it out there publicly. But if it was me at this stage of the game, it's already extremely late. Lots of problems along the way. But if it was me, I would just wait. I would wait for the Shanghai update. People are saying it's not necessary. It is not necessary. You could launch tomorrow. But you're going to introduce potential problems if you launch this Pulsechain and then have to integrate the Shanghai update. Now, it's been pushed that the Shanghai update is only going to be about unlocking staked ETH. Well, that's not true. You can go and look at the EIP itself. It's setting the groundwork and the framework for sharding. Now, what that means is in the future, and this is an important point, is that we all hate how much Ethereum fees are, right? Which is why Pulsechain is coming into existence. Hooray. But the fact of the matter is, in a very short space of time, when sharding comes along, and it won't be that far down the track, the fees on Ethereum go to minuscule amounts, which means that we will all be able to buy and sell Pulsechain pretty much for the same fees in the future. There's no question about that, because a lot of traffic will go to Pulse anyway, which reduces the fees just by that. But the sharding process, which is coming along, there's no question about that. Vitalik Buterin is not stupid, and he realizes that to be competitive and to keep growing that chain, the fees have to come down, which puts us in a fantastic place. Because don't forget, good old Richard Hart is going to give you a copy of your Pulse Zen when it launches. And it will launch sometime, just not anytime soon. Anyway, I don't have any crystal balls. I'm not a developer on the team. I have no more inside knowledge than anybody else. Only Richard and the devs know what's going to happen with the launch of Pulse Chain. Nobody else. Anyway. So I think I've gone on long enough. That's my 30 minutes. I'm going to say goodbye to the last person who joined us today. J.I. Hex, love having coffee with you in the morning. Thank you very much. Same to you. In fact, same to everybody. We have to grow this community. I realize that we are doing this organically. This is an experiment. We are not going to go down the route of trying to push this down people's throats. We're going to offer the opportunity, and they can either see it or not. But the thing about it is, you have to realize is that it does reach a tipping point, even organically. Don't get left behind. Keep saying that the way into this is dollar cost averaging. If you don't have a big lump sum of money to invest right now, just dollar cost average. That is the best thing. And Robert, I think, has a video on dollar cost averaging. So just look on the site and you'll see and hear his dulcet tones. I know a lot of you don't like this AI stuff, but you know, it's quite useful. It does get the message out, and it means it frees up some of my time as well. And please go and look at all the other content, but all the other great content creators. You know, some of them are much better than me at this sort of stuff. I am a conceptual guy. I don't like really being in front of the camera. It's quite draining on my time, but of course, I have a vested interest in making sure that as many people as possible know about this as we go forward. I will say Slanjivar then. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you found it interesting. If you did, please subscribe, follow, like, whatever it is you have to do. It costs you nothing, and it will spread the word. This is the best form of organic advertising that we can get for this opportunity. If you do that, the algorithm says this must be great content. Even if you don't like it, do something about it. Hit the dislike button. It doesn't matter. They will love you for it anyway. Slanjivar, everybody, and I will see you in the next broadcast. And there may be some news about the Pulsinator coming online once again for a very short period of time. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. And that is the end of the broadcast. For those of you who are watching this on a replay, thank you very much for joining. You're not forgotten, and I'm talking to you directly as well as my live followers. Thank you very much.